Hey guys, Sonyx here. Today we're going to be doing an Apex Legends tier list for Season 28. Now, a ton of new legends got buffed. We got Fuse, Catalyst, and Bloodhound, so it kind of shifted the meta a little bit. I played the season for about a week, and I think there's some legends that kind of climbed the ladder and some that kind of fell off that are never worth playing. So I just want to, go through this methodically and think about the reason why we ranked certain legends what they rank. So we're going to go ahead and get started with Alter here. And I think Alter is a great legend still, not an S tier legend because she did get nerfed a lot. The fact that you can only have one of your ults now, you don't have two, and then you can't, go to it if you're down by yourself. It just made Alter a little bit weaker. I mean, she was S tier at some point, especially when she had, the perk where she could res teammates and, like a support character, but now she's not really all that great. So I'd say Alter is still very viable as a solo character, but other legends exist that are a lot better than Alter that can kind of traverse her team and just more team play. But Alter is a really, really good legend as a 1v1 character. You almost don't want to find Alter, especially in buildings and all that. So I think Alter sits comfortably at A tier. Next, we have Ashe. Okay, this is very, very easy for this one. Ashe got nerfed heavily. The last season or two, because this dash on Ashe is not it anymore. You barely move anywhere, and you have Fuse here, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, that can basically overpower Ashe in terms of just raw movement and kind of assault capabilities. So Ashe, I think, fell off a little bit now and isn't as strong as she once was. She was at the top of the meta. Ashe and Alter, believe it or not, were at the top of the meta for the longest time, but I think Alter took less of a fall than Ashe, but I mean, Ashe got it heavily after the nerfs for the ult, the passive, and just pretty much everything. So I think great legend in general. The fact that you have raw movement, but it's not as strong as other movement characters in this game. So let's go ahead and move on with Ballistic. Now, Ballistic, this season, I would actually rank Ballistic pretty high up. I'd rather put Ballistic in A tier. Now, the reason why I kind of ranked Ballistic higher up is because we have a lot more weapons that require hop-ups now. So the fact that you can put like the Alternator in your sling, or the Havoc, or the just a lot of new weapons. Even the Alternator double tap, you can turn those gold anytime you want. So, even the PK now has disruptor rounds, right? So I think Ballistic has a great spot to be in the meta because you have so many weapons to choose from that are really strong. So I'm going to go ahead and put Ballistic up in A tier because he's a very strong legend. The fact that you can have 3 weapons in general just makes him a lot, stronger, and his attack can also cancel a lot of these different characters here because as soon as a legend is about to ape you, pop your attack, they're shut down, and you can get that free 1v1. So yeah, he's a pretty decent legend. I might move him later, but I feel comfortable with him being an A tier. All right, we have Bangalore. Bangalore, I think, is going into C tier. The reason that I put Bangalore in C tier is because the Fuse is just a better assault legend, but Bangalore, the ult is kind of not as great, as in terms of explosive capabilities, right? And I have a lot of words to say about that when we go to Fuse, but like Gibby's ult, I think, is more viable right now than Bangalore's ult. It's kind of been like that for a while because the Rolling Thunder, it's easy to avoid that. With Gibby's ult, you're just barraging everything. So you can kind of avoid Bangalore's ult really easily. The fact that you can break doors though with the ult, with attack, and you can cancel, pretty much everything here, puts Bangalore up to C tier. But it's kind of a very niche thing to be able to do that. So you have to make sure you really practice being able to practice canceling the different abilities in the game. But I think Bangalore is a comfortable legend. I wouldn't say she's really all that bad, but she's not all that all that great either. So just comfortable at C tier. And she did get a nerf as well after she got her buffs, which is expected to be seen in how these legends work. So Bloodhound. Okay. I think Bloodhound sits comfortably at A tier, honestly. The reason why is because before in season 27, it was down here. But now I think actually B tier. I don't think A tier is really all that great for Bloodhound. The reason why is because I think Bloodhound already deserved all the buffs that they have now. Because now that you can scan, when you have your ult, you hit the scan, and then you down someone, you get an extra 5 seconds in your ult, you get your attack charge back. I feel like that's something that should have always been baked into the kit. The fact that it's now part of, the buffs per se, doesn't make Bloodhound really all that great, because that should have been already implemented, right? We're just catching Bloodhound back to the meta. This is now what the meta should be. I don't think Bloodhound's broken, because there's nothing about the kit that's actually broken, except you do have the 50 HP regen every time that you knock someone. It's not a shield regen. Let's say if it was a shield regen, I'd bump Bloodhound up to A tier or even S tier, but it's only health. So it's not too crazy, but it's pretty good. We went from not worth playing ever to a solid B tier. We'll take it. As a scanner, in terms of the scanner meta, I don't think Bloodhound is as strong as Seer still. Seer still is really, really strong. And obviously we have Krypto, we have Valkyrie, which I'll show you guys where they rank, but Bloodhound's up there now. We're getting somewhere, and I'm glad that change was made for sure. All right, now we have our next one. This is going to be interesting. Catalyst. I think Catalyst was down here as well. Which is funny, because I think all three of these legends were down here, which Respawn kind of knew, and then they just buffed them to things that they actually needed. So now we have Bloodhound back at B. So I'm just gonna keep these down here. But after this new season hit, I think Catalyst is now at a solid B tier as well. The reason why I wouldn't put S and A tier. Actually, you know what? I would put Catalyst at a solid A tier. The reason why is because it's a little bit higher than Bloodhound, because Catalyst can reinforce the new hard light windows. Okay, so you have the ability to regen 12 of those windows from 200 HP originally to 1250 now. I mean, we're going a lot with that, and this is going to be controller meta this season. So naturally, Catalyst is going to shift higher in the meta. So I feel comfortable with putting Catalyst up in A tier. I don't think any of the actual stuff that she has is broken, but very good utility legend and very great at trapping up places really well. Even the perks, the hidden perks, the hidden spikes, or the increased damage, is great, but it's nothing game breaking for sure. So we've seen stronger buffs, especially with Ashe, and like Valkyrie or and stuff like that. So I don't think Catalyst is broken, but she's a lot stronger now. And as a controller legend, solid A tier for that. We have Costic now. Now, like I said, the controller legends are naturally going to rise due to the hard light and the controller meta this season, but I think Costic is still comfortably sitting at B, because the gas does incremental damage, not as much because he got those buffs where it doesn't tick as hard. Especially since when he did get buffed, that thing was broken. That he shot up. He probably was sitting at A or S tier, but he did get that nerf a little bit with the gas. And the only downside to Costic is that he actually takes gas damage from other Caustics. As we know, Catalyst does not take spike damage from other Catalysts, so that's another perk that she has. Costic does take gas damage, so I'm gonna go ahead and put him in B tier. Still a solid legend for sure, but his like I said, his the fact that he can take damage, the gas, and his hitbox is kind of large in general. Not as much as the fridges here. We'll talk about later, but Costic B tier, not bad. I'll take that. Conduit. Now I know that Conduit is a great legend. I have seen clips. I've watched a lot of videos. I know that Conduit can shield multiple people in her team, right? So before all that, I would have genuinely put Conduit down here, because there are, we have Newcastle, we have Lifeline, we have a lot of legends that just are stronger healers in general. But after seeing a lot of the clips and in my opinion of just the way that Conduit, it can be a mobility healer, because the fact that you can get those attack charges really, really easy on your team, I think Conduit is a little bit stronger now. I'm going to put Conduit at a C tier. I don't think Conduit is as strong as some other legends are in terms of the healing capabilities, but Conduit is a pretty solid legend in terms of like the attack. The ult, I don't think the ult is as strong as other legends, because most players, if once they see the ult, they'll just run away. It's not meant to really kill. It's more like a pressuring displacement tool. So it's okay. I don't think Conduit is a bad legend, but I don't think Conduit is the best legend. So a solid C tier is a pretty comfortable place where I place Conduit. If there was between a B and C, then I would place Conduit there, but I'm happy with C tier. Now Krypto. Okay. For those of you who don't know, Krypto got a nerf this season. Not a crazy nerf. Actually, I think it was towards the end of last season, where you're not able to get multiple ults by you basically could just do this weird glitch where you could just, it wasn't really a glitch, it was really like an exploit where you could just keep getting multiple ults. So I think they kind of toned that down this season. So I don't think he was originally an A tier. He was down here, but I don't know why Fuse is still sitting here, but Krypto was down here, and then when they buffed him up, the fact that he gets the invisible on when he's droned. Before any of that, Krypto was down here, but the fact that he got all those buffs, I think he sits comfortably up here before the nerfs. Now he just falls down here. So a solid scanner legend. The fact that you're still stuck in the drone. You're invisible, which is great, which protects you, but you're still in the drone. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not actually a recon supporting your team, like physically fighting the team. Sure, you have your EMP and all that, but you're down a teammate always. Like, and for me, I think what would put Krypto up at S tier is if one day I really hope they don't do it. That's too scary. But if Krypto's drone was able to follow him in a way, right? Then at that point, now you're rivaling against Bloodhound and Seer, mobility legends that can actively scan during a fight to help their team physically win, right? So I think C tier is still pretty solid for Krypto. Nothing I would change in this list so far. Now Horizon got a nerf last season towards the end, where where her like little passive where she could glide was falling. It like they cut the time in half. So you can't even glide in the air that long anymore. So I'd say Horizon's at a comfortable B tier now. Still a solid legend for sure. But the fact that you really can't glide in the air just like Lifeline, you can't really keep up as strong, and you can't do crazy outplays anymore. You can still do some basic stuff, don't get me wrong, but it's not the same as she once was when she was like the strongest pick out of the meta. But of course, that's how it kind of works. They buff these legends, then they nerf them back down. So that's kind of to be expected with Horizon for sure. I think next one we have is, we got Gibby here. Now Gibby, I'm going to be frank with you guys. Gibby's going to be a solid D tier, right? We said that Gibby's ult is stronger than Bangalore's, which is true, right? But everything else that Gibby has isn't. Bangalore has a lot more strengths. Gibby has that great ult, but then his hitbox is super huge, and he doesn't have any mobility in his kit. Like, Apex is shifting towards the mobility meta, and having some type of movement is very important. So Gibby just does not have that kind of capacity. And comparing that to Newcastle has movement and healing capabilities, and his defense / healing capabilities is technically stronger than Gibby is. So I would say, I'm comfortable with having Gibby at D tier. they kind of need to rework him, because Revenant is just as strong as Gibby, but Revenant has that insane movement. So yeah, I don't think Gibby's at a great spot. He definitely deserves some kind of buffs for sure. They've been reworking Newcastle like crazy. That's still insane to me, but Gibby has not been touched at all. So I'm curious. Well, on the topic of healers, Lifeline. So I think Lifeline sits at a solid A tier, honestly, guys. Your Halo doc thing, the little bubble that you have, it's a Gibby bubble, right? But this thing, you have increased heals. Gibby's bubble does not have any increased heals at all. This one has increased fast heals. And you have, like the fact that you can revive your teammates and you can keep supporting. You're the only legend here, actually, that can res a teammate without actually having to res a teammate. Your Doctrine will do it for you. Every other teammate here has to actually physically do something, and then they're incapable to fight. Lifeline is the only legend that can do that. So I think I'm comfortable with keeping Lifeline at a solid A tier. No crazy nerfs, no crazy buffs. Pretty solid legend throughout. She's not an S tier legend because she doesn't have the lightning fast heals that she did once back in the first few seasons of Apex, but I'm happy with the ult changes now. That Halo drone is really powerful. So I'll take Lifeline at a solid A tier. We have Loba next. So Loba, I think, honestly, is a great solo legend. Yes, she is a kind of support legend here, but I don't think she is really, she's not like Newcastle. She's not like Lifeline. She's more about looting, which is great as a selfish player because, you really, your passive alone, you see everything around you, anything that you want. But there's nothing that actually, you can give, your players loot and all that, gold bags, which is great. But there's nothing actually that separates her from becoming an ultimate healer legend. She has her own little niche, she's a healer legend, but like I said, it just doesn't belong in kind of like the healer class. Almost, it feels like she's like a mega grabbing loot legend. So I think she's great in terms of just trying to having the best loot, but in terms of like raw power, in terms of raw healing, I don't think she's that great. She has a lot of mobility for sure, like a great solo legend. So I'm gonna keep her at C tier. Not a bad legend, not the best either. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Next one we have, okay, this one's gonna be interesting. We have Mad Maggie. So Mad Maggie, I think, was really strong back then. Like she was actually up in A tier when she got the buffs. With the ball and everything and attack charges. But I think now Fuse is just a little bit better. Just a little bit better. So Mad Maggie is going to be at B tier. Purely the fact that the ball always damages you no matter what, right? They still haven't fixed that. I'm curious. And the ball should not damage you, by the way. I'm curious. I don't know why it does. But I think Mad Maggie is at a solid B tier because she still has some pretty strong capabilities as an assault legend. The fact that you can get double drills or a huge like mega single drill, and your the fire with the ult still exists. It's a strong legend for sure. But while we're here, why don't we just go ahead and do Fuse? I think Fuse sits at a solid A tier. If there was a tier between S and A, I'm going to just go ahead and put Fuse there. He doesn't belong in S for numerous reasons, but I think he sits, I'm going to put him here. He sits at the very left hand side. We're going to make our own little thing here. Very left hand side. He's the strongest A tier legend, right? Because his knuckle jumper perk is ridiculous. You have more mobility at Fuse than you do with any skirmisher legend, right? Like you can travel anywhere. You can travel further than Valkyrie's ult, and Valkyrie was just buffed. So that says something because you're just back to back, constantly traveling with you're just tack jumping everywhere. So I think that makes it brought Fuse up, right? Fuse was down here and he just did a tack jump all the way here, right? That's a dad joke. And then yeah, so he's really strong. he's not S tier because I will say his ult now feels weak. I mean, it feels really weak. It feels like they buffed attack, but then they nerfed the heck out of his ult. There's even the perk upgrades, you know, like you're forced to choose a knuckle jumper. No one's gonna run the pyrotechniques upgrade, and yeah, I mean that's really the main basis of Fuse. The ult just it's not the same mother load that it once was. It feels weak. People can avoid that damage like in a split second, and it's almost you're almost the fact that you don't have the fire built in, you have to choose that as a perk, makes it even that much weaker. Because and once you do choose the fire perk, guess what? You can avoid it. They're like patches of fire. It's not even the ring of fire. So Fuse was, I think that's great what they did actually. You know, in a way, they buffed the heck out of his attack, and then they nerfed the heck out of his ult, and then some of the perks. So yeah, Fuse is at a solid A tier. I don't think there's any specific legend that can really match him in terms of raw like travel time. Valkyrie is still up there for sure, but I think I'm happy with where Fuse is now at A tier. Mirage. Now Mirage, I think, weirdly enough, is a really strong healer legend. He can go invisible like just insane. Like you pop a freaking Phoenix, you could at endgame you're invisible. You pop a res, you and your teammate are invisible. I mean the resets that you can get in Mirage, it's hard to fight a Mirage. Like it genuinely is. And when you have a Mirage on your team, you're just happy because you know like if he pulls that res off, you're most likely getting it off, unless someone has some god tier headphones and they know exactly where you are. But in most scenarios, you'll get that res off and you're goated. Like that's it, you know. So I think Mirage sits at a solid A tier in terms of resing capabilities, but obviously nothing that is like game breaking for sure. Actually, there are some times where it's like, dude, how did he pull that res off? So I'm gonna go ahead and put him close to Fuse here in terms of, you know, like brokenness. But yeah, I think genuinely Mirage is a really, really great legend. Sits at a really great spot. There's nothing that he really needs right now. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way that Respawn worked on him. So now we have Newcastle. Okay. Contrary to most people, Newcastle, although he has a large hitbox, he has the largest hitbox for kind of like the best stuff. He can heal so many people. There's a reason why a lot of people play Newcastle in like comp and ranked, why he's like really good. It's because he has mobility on top of, you know, the healer aspect. That wall will like eat any nades, and you literally can have the fact that your knockdown shields are now built into your character means Newcastle will always have guaranteed blue or purple knockdowns if you just play the game consistently. But the fact, you know, by the time you hit end game, you'll probably already have a purple knockdown. You don't have to go searching for it. So Newcastle reses become that much more strong. So I think Newcastle is one of the best legends in the game in terms of like true raw healing power. For a while, I thought Newcastle and Lifeline were like neck and neck, and I still think they are neck and neck, like compared to who's better. But sometimes Newcastle is just a little bit stronger than Lifeline, and sometimes Lifeline is just a little bit the same as Newcastle. But I don't think she will ever be stronger than Newcastle. And Newcastle did get a ton of buffs last season, so that kind of adds to the benefit of why he is S tier. Okay, Octane. Oh my gosh. They nerfed Octane this season, guys. With your one of your perks, you have it like half the time. Like not the stim surge, but like one of the perks where it allows you, if you have low HP, the Daredevil perk, I think, and you'll basically not have it as long even if you have low HP. So I think Octane, genuinely, I'm gonna put Octane, like you can't even see it on the screen here, can you? Octane was double S tier or even triple when they buffed him. You have two stims. The second stim heals you. You're fortified. Like that. What? Like if Octane can go like hits in his own separate tier, I'm gonna call that Octane tier. He would be there. But I think Respawn realized, yeah, dude, he's just way too strong. And I think now he sits comfortably at a solid S tier, which is still insane. Like, your second stim is OP, and your other perks are still even crazy, and you still heal pretty fast. They did nerf the healing speed too, but still, man, Octane, 2 stims, nothing can beat that in terms of just the raw mobility, raw speed, raw damage. I mean, he feels like an assault character sometimes as well. So he is one of the best skirmisher legends that exist, and he still is. So nothing's gonna change about that for sure. Octane is OP. Okay, Pathfinder. Now Pathfinder is he's a very high skill ceiling character. You can't just play Pathy and expect to perform well like the way that you play, Octane. But I think Pathy is still a pretty solid legend, right? Because he has the grapple, and the fact that you can chain grapples still is really, really goated. But I don't think Pathy is as great as other legends like Alter or even Ash sometimes. But I think I'm happy with keeping Pathy at a solid C tier. Genuinely, I think he can get some improvements for sure. But he did get some buffs, a long time ago that could take some rework for sure to make him a little bit more in the meta. I don't think there's anything that's really makes him that much more special than other legends. He's just a pretty okay legend right now. So I'm happy with keeping him at a solid C tier. Now Revenant, I think no matter what, Revenant's just gonna climb. Like, Revenant's just gonna climb because you have a lot of shields. We just won't die. Your overshield is gonna be able to 1v1 any enemy. Like, you're gonna win almost every single one of your fights. I actually think he sits here at S tier. You pop your ult, and you will kill every single legend here at a solid 1v1, because you just have that overshield, which is still insane that you can, still get those charges every time you knock. They did try to nerf him a few times with attack, jump, and the length and all that, but it still does not change the fact that if you fight a Revenant close up, you are going to lose that fight. So this is a mobile Gibby, guys. All right, I'm going to be frank with you guys. This is a mobile Gibby who has assault legend capabilities, and skirmisher qualities as well. So he's kind of a jack of all trades. So yeah, I would say Revenant is a solid S tier. Genuinely, it's scary to fight one, and pretty easy legend to kind of play as well, especially in the meta. Okay, now we have Rampart. Now Rampart, this is crazy to me that I'm going to do this, but I think Rampart got a lot of buffs last season, right? We all know that, but for some reason she still falls short. Genuinely, it's really easy to counter a Rampart main this season. Like, it's not hard to fight one, and you can always go around their walls, and there's nothing that, I mean, the Sheila is a really strong weapon. I mean, it's the fastest time to kill ability in the game, but it's not, I don't know, like, you'll just feel it. Like, she's not really game breaking. So they tried last season to buff her, but I don't think it's strong enough. Like, Catalyst is just that much stronger of a legend, because you have, not just pressuring capabilities, but now you have rotational tools with the ult, much stronger in endgame. Sheila, as strong as Sheila is, and with the walls that you have, it's not that great, because you could just break it. You can't break Catalyst ult. You can't. I mean, you can't break a Costic ult. You know what I'm saying? So she's just not that strong of a legend, but she still is up here in D tier because she is a controller legend for sure. So yeah, I don't know what else you could do with Rampart. She already got buffed, but yeah, you'll be able to see how easy it is to counter Rampart, especially this season. Seer, okay, Seer is honestly a pretty good legend. Okay, like, he should be up here. an S or A tier, because they never really like, once Seer got buffed, most people didn't even like realize, like they just fell, he just fell off. Like he wasn't that great of a he didn't have the same flashy stuff that Valkyrie had or Sparrow has. They tried to match him to that level, but he just wasn't he just didn't match to that level. So I think he is still technically a great legend because they didn't really nerf him all that bad. So I'm going to keep him at a solid C tier. I think he's right there next to Krypto in terms of scanning capabilities, but he has a little bit more movement and everything like that. So actually, I'm going to keep Seer at a solid B tier. Yeah, he's a little bit better than Krypto in my opinion, and he can still navigate and still do that crazy stuff with his ult, have a lot more movement, but not the craziest scanner legend that we have. I think Bloodhound actually genuinely might be better than Seer, so that looks a lot better to me. Yeah, that looks a lot better to me. Sparrow. I think Sparrow was in his own lane as well. Remember how I told you Octane in his own little area? Sparrow was an S tier legend for sure. But I think now Sparrow has fell short because you can't really do much. You can't really like be that aggro with the ult because you're gonna get slowed down in there, even teammates as well. So I think Sparrow is still really, really strong in terms of raw mobility. Like he's a skirmisher legend. I mean, he's a recon legend, but has a lot of perks, like a lot of qualities of skirmisher legends, he has so much mobility with that double jump as well. So I think Sparrow's a really great recon legend, actually one of the best. So I'm going to go ahead and keep Sparrow at A tier. But I think he was previously like at least double S tier, if not S tier, So yeah, and then the fact that you could still heal with one of your perks, you could drain drain the health. That's OP. So I'm happy with keeping Sparrow there. Now we got Valkyrie, okay? Now guys, I am not biased because Valkyrie is my favorite legend, all right? I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but Valkyrie hasn't been nerfed. Valkyrie got buffed and that's it. Like her buffs is one of the strongest buffs in the game. Like you can hit the missile swarm while skydiving. That's automatically S tier. Like your jetpack, the jetpack's got an upgrade. Every part of Valkyrie's kit got way stronger after last season's, season 27's update. So they nerfed Horizon, which dropped her, but Valkyrie just was literally never touched, which I'm genuinely happy because Valkyrie did need those buffs. But I think Valkyrie is the strongest recon character in the game, right? You can scan recon beacons, right? You are a recon legend. You are technically the fastest skirmisher, but Valkyrie isn't a skirmisher. She was a skirmisher, but she's not now. And I don't know, you have your missiles. That's an assault capability thing. You rotate your team. You feel almost like a defense legend, like a support legend. You just are genuinely this. If you play Valkyrie, you're one of the strongest legends in the game, right? So I think Valkyrie is a solid S tier. There's really no argument there. Solid legend for sure. And even the evac towers, when people were like, "Oh, what about the evac towers?" I thought those kind of make Valkyrie not as valuable. Hell, if you can carry more evac towers as Valkyrie, you travel even further, right? So I'm happy with this. Valkyrie's S tier, and let's keep her there, right? Vantage. Now, Vantage is we all kind of forgot about Vantage. Let's be frank with you guys. Vantage did get some buffs a few seasons back, but nothing to the point where it was like Valkyrie or Octane. They were just buffs that made Vantage good again. Yeah, Vantage was pretty bad before. But I'm sorry to do this to you, but she has mobility, right? With the bat. And the fact that your sniper has some strong, it's like a mini Kraber, right? But she just doesn't hit the same level as the way that some other recon legends do. Bloodhound just got a ton of buffs, and those actually feel really strong. Valkyrie, of course, and Sparrow got some nerfs, but the fact that he's still up here, Sparrow is just a lot stronger than Vantage for sure. So I think with the way that the long range meta is in Apex is starting to kind of go away. They are kind of bringing back close quarter meta. Vantage isn't that strong of a legend anymore. You can't really run marksmans the way that you used to, especially with the nerfs to the triple take, to the G7s back in the care pack. And the Vantage kind of falls short in that, because I know a lot of Vantage players kind of like to run Sentinel, Lombo, all that stuff. None of that is going to really hit the mark this season. So the Vantage falls at solid D tier. But I think while we're here, I'm looking at this list again, and I think Gibby now falls to F tier. I'm going to be real with you guys. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Gibby now falls to F tier, as he's really weak. I'm just looking at this list, and most players will just not run Gibby. For I don't know what it is. It's like a hidden reason, but he's just not the character that you want to be running this season at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and put him in. Yeah, it's just getting worse, isn't it? Watson, I think Watson is a controller legend. Of course, she's gonna be naturally higher up the list, but I think Watson is, she's a legend that you kind of have to learn how to play really well, like Pathy, right? High skill ceiling, you can do a lot if you know how to play them really well. They're not a legend that you could pick up like Octane and you're going to be really good. So you might like make more mistakes by not performing them at the best, because they the skill ceiling is so high. But that's just one thing holding her back. I think in general, the fences are cool, like the fact that you can the doors, they get electrified and all that. They're great, but they're not as strong as Catalyst. You can reinforce doors with Catalyst, and then if a door breaks, you can just make a new door. Like that is insane compared to Watson, where you can't do that with a door, and you could just trap, and people can just break the actual, they can just break the actual, fence, and then the door is gone, right? With Catalyst, you have that ability to just keep making doors. So as a controller legend, I think Catalyst is a lot better. But I think Watson is just let's go ahead and put Watson at B tier. She's a lot stronger than Rampart, but she's not as strong as the newly buffed Catalyst. I'm happy with that. Now we have Wraith. Guys, honestly, Wraith needs a rework, like bad. Like you hit your attack, right? And you disappear forever. But with the movement legends, they can just chase Wraith. Like Wraith can't really escape the way that she used to be able to now. So I think Wraith is just kind of has fallen off the tier list a little bit. And yeah, genuinely, like they really need to work on Wraith and Gibby for sure, because they still feel like season 0, season 1 legends. Like they haven't caught the memo. Hey, season 28's out. The movement's back, and it's just they just feel like they're still ancient. So I'm very happy with this list. Let me see if there's anything I would change. Let me see. S tier, we have Newcastle, Octane, Revenant. That's pretty solid to me. A tier, I like that list. Okay, B. Yep. C. Okay. I think, everyone here is in their own little section. So yeah, I'm pretty content with this. The thing that I will say, guys, is that although there are legends here in the bottom, it's not to say that they're bad legends. It's just to say that they do need some work from Respawn's end. Okay? Every legend is viable in their own right for sure, but some need love more than others for sure. And we can all concur and agree that anything below C tier needs some assessing. So before you go, I am going to make a weapons tier list, and that's going to release. So there's going to be this video right in front of you. Go ahead and watch that, because I want to kind of share my thoughts and let me know what your thoughts are on the new weapons of season 28. So click this video, and I will see you there. Bye, guys.